Chapter 2. Bingley Buzz. A few evenings later, with dinner concluded, the Bennet family lingered in the drawing-room. The mood was lively with excitement at the prospect of soon making Mr. Bingley's acquaintance. Observing his second daughter employed in trimming a hat, Mr. Bennet suddenly addressed her with, "I hope Mr. Bingley will like it, Lizzie." This simple remark seemed to set off, in Mary's mind, a fresh stirring of what she privately thought of as Bingley Buzz. Mrs. Bennet, who had been waiting for just such an opening, launched into a spirited complaint about her husband's failure to arrange a proper introduction. "And you make absolutely no effort to secure the future of your poor girls." Mrs. Bennet soon shifted her attention, moving from daughter to daughter like a general inspecting troops. "You must be prepared. A great deal is decided in the first few moments. Remember, posture, politeness and prettiness. Above all, always be agreeable." Kitty interrupted her mother. "What if he were not agreeable?" "Quiet, girl," Mrs. Bennet snapped. She addressed Jane, Elizabeth, Kitty and Lydia. "Jane, my love, show your teeth a little. You were not born so beautiful for nothing. Those teeth ought to be seen." She shifted to Elizabeth. "As for you, silence is your friend. A gentleman must never suspect you of trying to outthink him, or all will be lost." To Kitty she offered an encouraging smile. "Mind your steps and do not hesitate to laugh. Gentlemen can be quite undone by cheerfulness." At last she reached Lydia, giving her an affectionate pinch. "And you, my dear, only be yourself, and you will do exceedingly well." Mary received absolutely no attention whatsoever. She wondered whether she ought to volunteer as the infantry medic. Kitty coughed, earning a quick, "Don't keep coughing so, Kitty, for heaven's sake. Have a little compassion on my nerves, you tear them to pieces." "Kitty has no discretion in her coughs," said her father. "She times them ill." "I do not cough for my own amusement," replied Kitty. Mrs. Bennet reminded her daughters, yet again, that it was the duty of a respectable father to make introductions on behalf of his girls, and that time was slipping away. Mary, only half listening, found her thoughts drifting elsewhere. She barely registered her father's words about someone needing to act, or Mrs. Long and her nieces would soon be having their chances. Mrs. Bennet sputtered, "Nonsense, nonsense. Do you really think these formal introductions are nonsense?" he asked, amused. "I cannot agree with you there." Then he turned his attention to Mary. "What say you, Mary? For you are a young lady of deep reflection, I know, and read great books and make extracts." Mary was not attending closely enough to understand her father's question. She blinked, startled back into the room. She tried to find something sensible to say, but nothing came. "While Mary is adjusting her ideas," he continued, "let us return to Mr. Bingley." "I am sick of Mr. Bingley," cried his wife. "I am sorry to hear that, but why did not you tell me so before? If I had known this morning, I certainly would not have called on him. It is very unlucky, but as I have actually paid the visit, we cannot escape the acquaintance now." The announcement caught everyone off guard. For a long moment, no one said anything. Then Mrs. Bennet lit up with satisfaction and declared, "I knew it! You are not telling me anything I did not already know. Of course I knew it would be so." The others looked at Mr. Bennet in surprise, though Mary noticed that Jane and Elizabeth were both clearly amused. "Now, Kitty, you may cough as much as you choose," said Mr. Bennet, and as he spoke, he left the room, fatigued with the raptures of his wife. Shortly after he departed, and the initial excitement calmed down, Mrs. Bennet declared, "The assembly will be so very exciting, and I am certain we shall meet Mr. Bingley now." "Just think of the possibilities," Kitty said dreamily. Mrs. Bennet, pleased with how things were unfolding, began speaking more freely. "Girls, I want you to know how very challenging it is to form new friendships at my stage of life. It requires a great deal of effort, and you should all remember the pains I suffer on your behalf. But it must be made clear that your father and I are willing to do whatever is necessary for your happiness and success." Mary said little for the rest of the evening. Her father's remark, though made in jest, lingered with her. He had noticed her inattention, and worse, had chosen to remark upon it. She caught her mother's words. "Lydia, my love, though you are the youngest, I dare say Mr. Bingley will dance with you at the next ball." "Oh," said Lydia stoutly, "I am not afraid, for though I am the youngest, I'm the tallest." Kitty cut in with her playful jest. "Well, he isn't going to be dancing with Mary." The effect was immediate delight for Lydia, Kitty and Mrs. Bennet herself. Lydia going so far as to pull a mocking face at Mary's dour expression. Elizabeth glanced at Lydia and Kitty, and said with steady composure, "I do not believe Mary deserves such treatment." After a short pout from Lydia came Mary's voice, "I would rather not dance. I do not like pretending to be someone I am not." "Mary, you are doing better with your dancing," Jane replied with her usual calm grace. "Lizzie can play while we work together on the movements. We could practice now if you like." Mary could hardly imagine anyone asking her to dance. It was not an event she had ever been required to consider. Her sisters were admired everywhere they went. Mary had long ago become accustomed to passing unnoticed beside them. But Mary thought she would like to go over her dance steps. Jane had been helping her lately, and her encouragement was appreciated. "Well, perhaps," Mary muttered. "Excellent," said Jane. Mrs. Bennet brushed Jane aside and turned her attention to clothing. "No, we shall have neither music nor dancing tonight. I have a headache, and there are far more pressing matters to discuss. Now, Kitty, which dress do you think you would like for the assembly?" Kitty brightened. "I was thinking, perhaps my yellow gown with the—" No, her mother interrupted. "It must be the green dress, and with the black shoes. That will do best for you." Mary did not care to listen more to the conversation, and sleep was overtaking her. As the family speculated about the approaching evening, she rose and said timidly, "Well, good night." She did not wait for a response, and did not expect one. Her words had landed softly, barely noticed. The others returned to their talk without much thought. Elizabeth looked up. "Good night, Mary," she said with a tender smile. Mary smiled and felt just slightly less apart. She climbed the stairs to ready herself for bed. She had nothing against dancing, in fact, she found it quite lovely to watch. But when it came to joining in, she did not really know how it would be done. She imagined that, were she to try, she would feel as though everyone were watching her. Of course she knew this was not true, yet the thought would not leave her, and when she pictured it she felt like a wobbly goose, all awkward motion and no grace. She went through her nighttime routine. As she climbed into bed, she blew out the candle and thought about someone asking her to dance. She wondered, not entirely seriously, whether Mr. Bingley would ever so much as notice her. She quickly put the notion aside and began to rehearse the sonatina she had lately undertaken, the opening phrase, the steady pattern beneath it, the familiar ordered harmony. She traced it carefully in her mind, her fingers moving faintly beneath the covers, as though the instrument were still before her. Downstairs, her sisters and mother remained animated with talk of the assembly, of dancing, of Mr. Bingley, and of all that might soon follow. Upstairs, Mary fell asleep with the music still moving faintly in her mind.